I'm excited for this video, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beautiful galaxy. Currently, I'm wrapping up my work on the best to worst characters, all characters ranked video for all of 2020 to kick us off strong for 2021. And I like to make this video yearly. I look at this list and say, all right, 2020 has come and went, so let's hope it comes and goes when the clock turns on December 31st. What iconic characters are in Galaxy Heroes that just are not powerful compared to the Star Wars lore version of those characters? We have a list of 10 in this video today, and I want to take a little trip down memory lane. We make this video every single year, and last year Darth Vader was on this list, and it's so awesome to see this character go from very mediocre to one of the best characters in Galaxy Heroes. I always say this, is a weird way of how I say it, the best legendary, non-legendary character, extremely accessible, and on top of it, this character counters every single Galactic Legends, and Galaxy Heroes forms a top-tier team that I think every free-to-play person, or every player in general, should have this character geared up. And some this is turning out to be, so the data showing some of people's first relics and gear 13s that they get in Galaxy Heroes. That is incredibly important, and I'm hoping in 2021 we're gonna get more reworks, and that could be in the form of an actual outright rework like Darth Vader, or it could be something like what Mon Mothma did for the Rebel Fighters, and kind of how Admiral Piet did the same thing by improving the viability of Imperial Troopers overall. One of those two directions I would be more than happy to see, and I want to start this list by, there's no particular order in this list, but number one definitely is the number one on this list, and we're going to kind of go by era chunks here, and I'm starting off with the Clone Wars era. My suspicion is, speculation, not confirmed, that 2021 we're going to see more Clone Wars era things with possibly an emphasis on the Jedi Council. And this is, fun fact, Mace Windu, number one on this list. This is the one I'm definitely ranking as the number one most needed iconic character rework needed for 2021. Mace Windu was supposed to get a rework in 2020. About a quarter into the year of 2020, we already got some bad news. I'm not talking about the Rona. It was that Mace Windu's rework is being canceled, delayed, and they also canceled a new raid for instead and went with the Galactic Legends. So two bad things that happened already at the beginning of this year, and Mace Windu, being that kind of character, is one of the most powerful Jedi, especially during the Clone Wars era. The guy that basically bested Darth Sidious in combat is next to garbage in this game, and I'm gonna be very surprised if 2021 does not bring a rework. And one of my suspicions is I'm looking at Cabbie Cad Bane. I'm gonna have him finally next month at 7 stars. Fun fact, this character is probably the most difficult character to get, more difficult than a Galactic Legend. It's taken me a year and a half to get this character to 7 stars, and the best use out of Cabbie Cad is with Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. And this guy screams he wants to be with the Galactic Republic Jedi team. He has to be in a full Galactic Republic Jedi team to give all the speed bonuses, all the health bonuses, all the offense bonuses, and to give Galactic Republic Jedi allies extra bonuses, their support or healer. And the problem is there really isn't a good Galactic Republic Jedi team in the game right now, and that's why I think 2021 might be bringing that. Whether it's going to be Mace Windu being the go-to Galactic Republic Jedi Council leader, and then Cabbie Cad Bane is going to supercharge it even more. Whatever the case might be, there's a lot of Galactic Republic Jedi we could put on this list that I hope would get better, but I feel like between Mace Windu and Cabbie Cad Bane on this list, Cabbie Cad Bane is not on the list, but I think Mace Windu being highly hopeful for 2021 for a rework, I think that could definitely raise the viability of Aayla Secura, Ima Gundyne, Eth Koth, Kit Fisto. Grandmaster is already a great character, but maybe even Grandmaster Yoda could be on the Jedi Council team as well. I think it would be great to see Mace Windu kind of be like a Mon Mothma and raise the bar for a lot of these Galactic Republic Jedi. So we talked about Mace Windu. We're going to talk briefly about someone who doesn't quite want to be on the Jedi Council, and that is Qui-Gon Jinn. Although he was offered a seat on the Jedi Council, he declined the offer, but nonetheless, I have him actually bookmarked. Once I get my Cabbie Cad Bane to 7 stars, I actually think I might gear up Qui-Gon Jinn, because if you're trying to put a good Galactic Republic Jedi team together right now, Qui-Gon Jinn seems like it might have potential, but he's still not an amazing character. He's very accessible. I'm sure a lot of new players, when they look through the stores, they don't watch any videos, guides, Reddit forums, whatever the case might be, they might be gravitating towards Qui-Gon Jinn, and he's really not all that amazing. He gets quickly surpassed by other Jedi, such as Bas Lashan. Is a much better lead. I think he's got a lot of potential with Cabbie Cad Bane. We've actually made a video about it. Card in the top right-hand corner. If you want to see how Qui-Gon Jinn lead works as the 7-star Cabbie Cad Bane, it looks like a lot of fun. Not amazing. That's kind of like the best Jedi Council Galactic Republic team we have right now, although there is no Jedi Council tag tying all of them right now. I think it's a fun character, but I think he definitely needs to be a little bit better, especially with how iconic he was in the beginning of episode 1. I would love to see him be a little bit better. Although I don't know if we do get a Jedi Council tag, I don't think he would quite get it. But anyways, moving on. I probably should have put this next character high on the list, but I kind of want to talk about Galactic Republic Jedi for a moment. Darth Sidious. Now, he was important in 2020, but not for the reasons we wanted to. Obviously, we all know that you need a Relic 7 Darth Sidious to get the Sith Eternal, and that kind of was a little bit painful because this character, even at Relic 7, even though it looks like his Relic should make him hit harder because he's getting extra critical damage and extra critical chance, he hits like a wet noodle. I swear Barris can hit harder than this guy. Now, if this guy would hit as hard as the Secrets and Shadow Darth Sidious challenge tier version that we see, I think we'd be a little bit more satisfied. But the guy who orchestrated the Clone Wars, it's unfortunate to see that he is not that good in this game. Even if you're a brand new player coming to this game, he offers no extra viability for your roster, except if you're trying to get Sith Eternal as early as possible. And Sith Eternal is one of the easier accessible Galactic Legends out there. I think as the guy who orchestrated the Clone Wars, I don't know if he should get a Separatist tag or Galactic Republic tag. Maybe we'd get a Chancellor Palpatine in 2021 if we're going to build up to an Order 66 type of era for 2021. I just feel like this character needs to get better, and especially because people have to gear up for Galactic Legends, it would be great to find some sort of use out of this guy. That's one of the worst feelings. You gear up a character for Galactic Legends, and they're just not good at all. But we have a couple more Galactic Republic people on this list before we turn the page to the next era, and I'm looking at Commander Cody. He was on the list for last year in 2020. Based off, my suspicions were kind of based off Geonosis Terror Tales. And Geonosis Terror Tales, you need Commander Cody, you need the Clone Sergeant, and you need General Kenobi for that really wacky, unique combat mission. And it's just really difficult to make it happen because there's not a lot of powerful synergy between General Kenobi and those two clones that I just mentioned. I would love to see, I mean, of course, a rework and some new 212th Attack Battalion clones like Waxer and Boyle, for example. That would be awesome to see. But I think the more pragmatic thing to look at is we have General Kenobi. He's got a 212th Attack Battalion Commander Leader, but he has no actual specific 212th Attack Battalion synergy in the game, and there's no tag of any sort. I would love to see General Kenobi. He's not on the list, but I just want to bring it up in relation to Commander Cody. I would love to see Commander Cody with General Kenobi kind of be like how Captain Rex and General Skywalker is with the 501st. That would be another fantastic addition to our Geonosis territory battle teams to help make it a little bit easier. I think Commander Cody has a lot of possibilities, and I hope that we get some new clones and maybe even reskin the Clone Sergeant to have the 212th Attack Battalion tag and just rechange his paint colors to yellow. I think that'd be kind of fun to see. But we have one more Clone Wars era character before we move on to a different era. We're going to move on to the Bounty Hunter tag. And I'm talking about Cad Bane. Cad Bane, here's the thing. He's not a horrible character. He's not an amazing character. What I would love to see out of him, because the Bounty Hunters got really good in 2020, thanks to Grief Karga and Mandalorian, and I love this combo more than I love the Journey Beskar Armor Mando right now. Bounty Hunters are increased their viability quite a lot because of these two characters. Even Orasing was not really a great bounty hunter before. Now she's kind of the go-to leader for the Mandalorian. But the problem is we have 6 bounty hunters. We should be able to form 2 decent bounty hunter teams, and it's kind of hard to make that second bounty hunter team be something different or be something decent. And I think Cad Bane, what I would like to see out of him is, one, he's the only bounty hunter without a Zeta in Galaxy of Heroes, and that means we're missing some extra viability out of him. But what I would really like to see, especially because we have Geonosis territory battles and we do have some Padme Amidala Galactic Republic Jedi teams out there, I would love to see him have a bit more anti-Jedi synergy going into 2021. He's got a little bit of it right here, but it's not really all that amazing. It's kind of, it sounds like it should be helpful against Padme because it messes around with max protection. It just doesn't work as well as I would like it to be. And seeing how great he was up against the Jedi inside the Clone Wars TV show, I just feel like it doesn't really represent itself well inside of Galaxy. Now, the best thing about him is he's a very accessible bounty hunter in the Galactic Warster. I use him to get the legendary Chewbacca. You need his ship to get the Millennium Falcon. That's really the best things about him. And afterwards, once you get your Clone War or your legendary Chewbacca, you just don't use the guy again. And probably nowadays, this is way back when I got Chewbacca. Nowadays, there are just better bounty hunters to farm up to get Chewbacca. And the only reason to farm him up is just for his ship to get the Millennium Falcon. Cad Bane, I feel like we're not quite seeing his full potential, whether it's because we're missing a Zeta or we're just missing some more anti-Jedi stuff, which would be helpful in GOTB or against those Padme Amidala teams. But we're going to turn the page and briefly talk about the sequels. The sequels got a lot of love this year with the Resistance, as well as the First Order getting their Galactic Legends. But the problem is, We geared up a lot of characters. We relicked up a lot of characters, and they aren't all that hot. Fortunately, for example, First Order Stormtrooper, he was a pretty mediocre at best character before Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. We were worried about this be wasted gear. He is now probably one of the, he is the best, one of the best characters they have in the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren lineup. However, a lot of other characters did not get the same sort of treatment, and I'm putting Captain Phasma on this list here. And here's what I kind of want to say. Yes, of course, reworking her would be great. But you know what I really want to see? We geared up a bunch of other trooper-based First Order units. First Order Executioner, First Order Officer, First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot, as well as the TIE Pilot. And of course, these guys are troopers as well. And you might be following my logic. I would love to see a First Order trooper team. Now, I'm not saying let's copy and paste what the Imperial troopers have, but we can create a separate identity for a First Order trooper faction. I'm surprised we still have yet to get a First Order trooper tag, and I think Captain Phasma could be that leader for the First Order troopers, like Veers is right now for the Imperial troopers. I don't know what that identity would look like, but we have plenty of leftover troopers here that could be useful as a separate team, because once you get your Supreme Leader Kylo Ren up and running, these characters are just not being used all that much. If you're using Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, it's really that first row of characters you're messing around with. And would it be great to see Captain Phasma work with these guys right here, Sith Trooper, First Order Stormtrooper? I would love to have that flexibility, especially because when Supreme Leader Kylo Ren first came out, besides having to relic up this character, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren was not amazing. When he first came out, his leadership was bad. And people actually zated the fire at will leader ability on Captain Phasma because it was better than Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. And now that Supreme Leader Kylo Ren got that rework, he has that built-in critical damage immunity and advantage. We basically threw away Zetas towards Captain Phasma. I think it would be great to make that Zeta people invest in a little bit better, because there was no Zeta refunds to my recollection for Captain Phasma Firewheel. I might be incorrect about that, but a lot of people Zeted Captain Phasma because she was better than Supreme Leader Kylo Ren for a little bit of time out there. But that's really the only single character I want to talk about. And now we're going to move into our final category of the original trilogy. And we're going to talk about your favorite buckethead and mine on this Star Destroyer, Stormtrooper Gary. Oh, man. Now, he's not an iconic name character per se, but if you ask anyone in your family who's not a big Star Wars nerd, like maybe you and I are, whether it be your dog, your cat, your sister, your brother, your fiance, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, anything, your grandma, your great-grandpa, your great-great-great-grandma, I can almost guarantee, even if they didn't watch the movies, they know who Darth Vader is. They know, Luke, I'm your father. They probably are familiar with the Millennium Falcon, but I think one thing is for sure, almost anyone can identify what a stormtrooper is. The shining force and example of power, respect, and pride of the Empire, and supposed to be the scary force that kind of keeps the Empire's will at strong. And this character does the exact opposite in Galaxy Heroes. Now, I will digress a little bit. A while ago, we kind of showed how Stormtrooper can kind of be one of the best counter tanks to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. If you have Wat Tambor, you pass over the pre-taunt tech over to Stormtrooper, and due to his high defense, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren struggles a bit to take down Stormtrooper. This guy survives multiple hits from Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, but beyond that, he is just not that great. He's just not great whatsoever. I would love to see a rework for him. I know I always hear this talk, maybe he should get like a B1 Droid Battalion type of stack feature, where Wall of Stormtroopers is a B1 Battalion ability, where the more Wall of Stormtroopers you have, the more powerful he would become. That would be kind of cool to see. We were kind of hoping Moff Gideon would be like what Mon Mothma did for the Rebel Fighters. I mean, heck, and tactical deployment, we see Stormtrooper on there. I think we're still missing stuff for Moff Gideon. There's a lot of speculation 2021 is going to bring things like the Dark Troopers, for example. But I think maybe 2021, the Stormtrooper, whether it's through a rework or maybe Moff Gideon's team making a bit more sense and we get the final pieces, maybe that's where we're going to see Stormtrooper become a bit more useful. Right now, not all that amazing, unless you want to do some really funny Stormtrooper tricks against Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. But lastly, we got to talk about the Rebel Scum. I know it pains me, but fact of the matter is, there's a couple of my big name characters on here I think we need to talk about. And the last one on this list might be a bit controversial, but I think you guys will understand where I'm coming from when we get there. And the first one I want to talk about here on these last three is Princess Leia. Now, she was on the list last time in 2020. She became a bit more important in 2020 in 2020 here because you need her for a Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, and ultimately, she's kind of indirectly needed for Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. She's needed basically for all the legendary Lukes inside the game, and man, holy cow. Look at that leader ability. I see critical chance mods do more work than her leader ability actually does here, and I was really hoping when Mon Mothma came to the game, Princess Leia would get the Rebel Fighter tag And that's just not the case. Now, I kind of understand from a balancing perspective why she didn't get it, because look, she attacks 3 times, potentially 3 times in her basic, and she's got a chance to gain massive amounts of turn meter. Well, Mon Moth is always calling assist, and you're always using your basic. Therefore, if she had a Rebel Fighter tag, she could be broken under the Mon Mothma lead. Now, I would take this as a good trade-off. I would be fine if they gave her the Rebel Fighter tag, but in exchange, they pulled away the turn meter gain on her basic, and then we could just rely on the Hoth Rebel Scout to feed turn meter on their basic. That's what I would love to see at the minimum. We don't even need to do a full-on rework. Pull some stuff away, give her an attack, and I feel like at least that might make her a bit more viable with the Rebel Fighter fact, because we have Lando, he's a Rebel Fighter, Wedge and Biggs, they're Rebel Fighters, but not Princess Leia. I feel like they didn't add it because of balancing purposes, and I think that's an easy trade-off. You don't have to do a full-blown rework, Rebel Fighter tag, pull away the turn meter gain. I think that might be a good way to make her useful, especially since you have to relic her up for the legendary Luke Skywalkers. Next on this list, we talked about him last year, but I think there's definitely going to be more of an emphasis on this character, Ahsoka Tano. Mandalorian TV show, you probably are well aware of it by now. It's been a couple weeks now. Ahsoka Tano had a brief appearance inside of The Mandalorian. We have been confirmed an Ahsoka Tano TV show that's kind of stemming from The Mandalorian TV show. And this character we have here is from the Rebels TV show. And she's just a mediocre character. She doesn't really have a home. Commander Luke Skywalker doesn't need her. I wish she had a Rebel Fighter tag with Mon Moth. Imagine her basic constantly granting protection up to the whole entire team. That would be fantastic, and especially with all the buffs floating around on a Rebel Fighter team. Meditate and Whirlwind would be so great to use. Ahsoka Tano, kind of an iconic character, a fan favorite character. I feel like she was just added to Galaxy Heroes for fan service, but really she's never been God. She's just always been okay at best, and we just more and more forget about her. I really want to gear her up, but at best, she can beat mediocre teams in Galaxies. I feel like she should be a way better, whether it's reworking Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, or maybe they'd make a newer Ahsoka Tano based off The Mandalorian and the future Ahsoka Tano TV show. And one more character on this list to wrap it up. This is going to be possibly controversial, but let me explain myself. R2-D2. You got to Relic 7 him. He's needed for basically in an indirect way for all the legendary Luke Skywalkers. You need that high relics on him to make it work. Now, I'm going to say this. Unlike a lot of these other characters on this list, he is at least a decent character. But really, in my opinion, when we go over to the journey guide, I think we can all agree when you look at this, he is the most non-legendary feeling character in this list. All these other characters, of course, excluding the TB characters, like, for example, Rebel Officer Leia Organa. When you look at this right here, R2-D2 just really doesn't have a home anymore. He just keeps falling to the wayside a bit. He's just kind of used as the bench warmer. For example, in your Commander Luke Skywalker team, if you need to pull out C-3PO and you don't have Old Ben, you might put R2-D2 at that point. Padme Amidala, if you can't put in C-3PO, Shakti, Barriss, you might put R2-D2 in at that point. He just is a bench where you're not really thinking about. He's just kind of that leftover. It's like, hey, I'm here. Put me on the team, daddy. It's kind of one of those type of situations. And I feel like, one, maybe give him a Rebel Fighter tag so he can constantly assist, a constant assist on a basic and possible stuns. Maybe is broken. I think he definitely could be eligible for a Rebel Fighter tag. I don't know what's missing. Maybe he just needs a team that he's needed in. Remember when R2-D2 first came out, and then a couple months later, Commander Luke Skywalker came out? He was needed. He was basically mandatory for the Commander Luke Skywalker Rebel crew that existed back in 2017. And over time, kind of fallen to the wayside. Right now, I use him with Jawas and Galactic Legends Ray inside of Geonosis territory battles. But really, probably the best use out of him is with Jedi Training Raid, BB-8, and the Resistance heroes. I just feel like a little bit more could be done. And I kind of want to wrap up this list with a legendary character I just don't feel like feels like a legendary character anymore in Galaxy Heroes. Decent character, good character, but not an amazing character like a lot of the other legendary characters in Galaxy Heroes. And that's going to wrap up our video for today. A lot of these characters I feel like have a high likelihood of getting better in 2021. I'm definitely feeling a bit of Galactic Republic, Jedi Council stuff possibly happening for sometime in 2021. That's my hope. But what do you guys think? And what would you expect and hope that 2021 is going to bring for a lot of these iconic characters that just need to be better? Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.